mother of 3, Summer Inman, kidnapped from the parking lot of a local bank. Eyewitnesses say kidnappers include a woman with long bleached blonde hair and 2 men. Bank security video emerges of Summer at the bank just before she's snatched. You think you've got in-law problems? Police target Summer's own mother-in-law and that big mama's boy, Summer's estranged husband. Bombshell tonight. As we go to air, a female body found stuffed deep underground into a church septic tank. This as the husband and in-laws drive over 100 miles away to get caught on car wash surveillance just after the kidnapping, furiously cleaning the car interior. Then they follow up with more cleaning at 2 other car washes and then race into a tire shop for new tires. We learned the husband and in-laws members of their own offshoot church. We go live now for breaking news on the discovery of a body.
Summer Inman's body has been located. She was located in a septic system. The body was in a septic system to the rear of the church. Underground? Correct. Sandra Inman, incarcerated at Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail, revealed the location of Summer Inman's body.
It was here at the Blue Sonic Wash where surveillance video was taken, showing Summer Inman's estranged husband, along with his parents, cleaning out their white Crown Victoria less than 12 hours after Summer was abducted outside a bank in Logan, Ohio, thoroughly cleaning out and wiping down the inside of their car.
In these rural areas, of course, they don't have plumbing and water and whatnot. They use wells and septic systems. Most of the system certainly is under the ground, and you have a portion that comes up so the system can be maintained. The body was very much intact. Her identification was found.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. I want to thank you for being with us. Bombshell tonight, a beautiful 25-year-old mother of 3, Summer Inman, kidnapped from the local bank. As we go to air now, a female body found stuffed deep underground into a church septic tank. Straight out to Walter Allen with CNN affiliate WSYX. Walter, what happened?
Well, authorities got a tip from Sandra Inman. She apparently they negotiated with her some sort of a plea deal to find out exactly where this body was. For the last week, they did not know where this was, and they finally got a tip and searched it late last night, and they had to remove the lid of the septic tank to find the body. According to the police chief here, the body was intact, but he would not confirm or speculate on whether they would have found the body without Sandra Inman's help.
Straight out to Matt Bruning with 610 WTV and radio. We are hearing that a female body has been discovered stuffed down into a church septic tank. What happened, Matt?
Well, Nancy, we can tell you that Logan police this morning, they held a press conference. They told us that this body they found last night in the septic tank at this church over near Nelsonville, which is just about 10 miles away from Logan, is confirmed. It is Summer Inman's body, and they believe that it was dumped there by her in-laws.
With me is Matt Bruning from 610 WTVN, joining us out of Columbus. Matt, how far away is that church from the bank where she was kidnapped?
Well, the church is about 10 miles down US 33, which is the 4-lane highway that goes through that area. It's a rural area. It's probably about a 10-15-minute drive from where she would have been abducted.
Matt, if you could you please describe the septic tank? I understand it's an underground septic tank. Is it behind the church? Is it in a wooded area? How difficult was it to get the lid off of that septic tank? What do you know?
Well, Nancy, what I can tell you is that the septic tank is mostly underground. There's a small hole that comes up to the top of the ground where the septic tank is maintained. We're told that there was a lid that had to be unscrewed to get access to it. It's not a huge area. It's a pretty small little hole there, and it would be reasonably difficult to get somebody down inside that.
You are seeing a shot of the discovery of a female body stuffed down a septic tank behind a local church there in Ohio. This after 25-year-old Summer Inman is kidnapped, snatched out of a bank parking lot. Eyewitnesses say she was taken by two men and a woman wearing a long bleach blonde hairdo. You know, you're seeing video of the discovery of the body. Matt Bruning joining us from Columbus, Ohio. Matt, how did they manage to get the body out? Liz, let's see that diagram again. I understand it was deep, deep underground.
Yeah, the police chief wouldn't say how deep he thought that tank was, but it is, you know, when you talk about these tanks, we're talking, you know, in some cases 500 to 1,000 gallons. So that's a pretty big tank, and would be several feet deep.
I understand police had to bring in workers to unscrew a cover that was about 20 inches across with 6 screws basically hammered in on the septic system to remove the body. How did they do that late in the night? Did they have to bring in government workers, sewage workers to do it, or could they do it?
I would imagine they could do it since this isn't a public sewer system. This is a private septic tank. This is a rural area, Nancy, and so they don't have public sewers out there. It's basically a tank that all of the waste from the restrooms would go into this tank, and it just kind of sits there and then leaches out. So, and you know, it's privately owned. It's not a public sewer. So, yeah, the police officers or someone there at the church or a maintenance person could probably do that work.
I'm taking it that the perpetrators did this in the cover of darkness so no one would see them. Or is the septic tank in a wooded area, or is it plain to see at daylight hours?
No, it's plain to see. It's not far from the church there, and you're right. The police indicated that they believe Summer Inman was killed fairly shortly after she was abducted because she was wearing the same clothing that she was wearing in the surveillance video. So they think it happened a short time later. And again, that's not too far from where that bank is, so it wouldn't take them more than a half an hour to get to that point, and that would be in the middle of the night.
I understand also, Matt Bruning, that she had her photo ID still on. She was still had it on, which indicates that the murder occurred almost immediately after snatching her out of the bank parking lot.
What he said.
Yeah, absolutely. The police did say they did find her ID. That was one way that they sort of made the preliminary identification of her. They will do some more testing and some things to absolutely confirm what their worst fears are, but they do think that is Summer Inman. And yes, when we asked the police chief, we said, you know, how long do we think that she was there? How long was she with her captors? He said it was not long at all, and he felt that she was killed fairly quickly after being abducted.
You mean that evening she was killed the same night that she was abducted?
That's the indication that the police chief gave us.
We are taking your calls live right now out to Joe Gomez with KTRH. Joe, what's extremely unusual and in my mind damning is the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, and the estranged husband's behavior immediately after she goes missing. Go ahead, hit me.
Oh, Nancy, you're right. This is very, very bizarre behavior. You know, the morning after they allegedly kidnapped Summer, the first thing they do is they go to a car wash. We have surveillance video footage capturing this trio washing out the inside of a car, changing out the license plate on this vehicle.
Hold on, Joe. We're showing the video right now. Here you see the mother-in-law, the monster-in-law, the father-in-law who runs his own church, and the estranged husband. There they are in the white Crown Vic. They show up. They drive, don't they, Joe? I'm going to keep this shot up, please. They drive over 100 miles away from the bank parking lot just to wash their car. Explain, Joe Gomez.
Just to wash their car, Nancy. Just to wash a car. And they don't need to go to one car wash, Nancy. They went to 2 after that, police believe.
So 3 car washes, and Joe, isn't it true they're focusing mostly on the interior of the Crown Vic, Joe?
That's right, which is a strange place. You figure if you're going to go to a car to wash your 3 car washes especially, you're gonna focus on the interior. But that's what these folks were doing. This deadly trio, let's call them, were focusing mostly on the interior of the car. They were swapping out a license plate on the vehicle, and after they decidedly, had scrubbed this car clean enough to their liking, Nancy, where did they head next? They went to an auto body shop, and what did they do there? They wanted to buy new tires. new tires.
And what's so unusual
Well,
is they go in and their tires were practically brand new. They want to get rid of any identifying hubcaps or tires that could be associated with their car. And as Gomez was just reporting, they take the license tag that they've removed and stick it back on the back of the car. I want to go now to a special guest joining us at where this body has been found, Jewel Cavani. She is a very dear friend of Summer Inman. Jewel Cavani. Jewel, thank you for being with us.
Sure.
Jewel,
I'm glad to be here.
Jewel, I'm just stunned at this whole scenario. What led up to this?
Well, Summer had been emotionally and mentally abused and captive in this marriage for several years, but none of us ever dreamed that she would it would end up like this. We just never dreamed. We knew there were some problems, but again, we never knew just never dreamed that it would come to this.
With me, I believe, is it Cavani? Is that how to pronounce your last name, Jewel?
Yes, Cavani.
Thank you.
Cavani.
Miss Cavani, describe to me where you are right now. Are you where the body was found?
Yes, I'm just outside Faith Tabernacle.
And what, if anything,
it's just about
was
4 miles from where I live.
What, if anything, was their connection to this church?
I think this was the last church that they had attended.
Now,
because they have attended several. I'm sorry, they have attended several churches in the area, and this was the last one that they were attending.
With us is Faith Cavani, who is a very dear friend of 25-year-old Summer Inman. Do you see where the police found the body? Is it within plain sight of where you are?
No, it's not in direct sight of where I am.
Are you familiar with the grounds of the church?
Somewhat. I go by here quite often.
Mm-hmm. So is the septic tank out behind the church?
Mm-hmm, yes.
How is Summer Inman's family doing?
You know, honestly, it's amazing how well her parents are holding up. I said they have handled this with such grace and strength. It is just amazing.
Well, what's amazing to me is that the mother-in-law actually said, "I'm sorry," to Summer Inman's family. That is a big, big confession to actually say, "I'm sorry" to them. Jewel, are you familiar with the mother-in-law at all?
Yes, I've spent some time with her, not one-on-one, but, you know, in church services, church activities. They spent some time with our youth group. We took our youth to Kings Island here in Ohio, and they went with us, and that was really my first interaction with them.
Do you believe that she would just go along with whatever her husband told her to do, including murder?
Well, the reason why I believe that she would was because she was also emotionally and mentally abused. And, you know, she and Summer both had to do what they were told. And these men kept them under control and limited what they were allowed to do.
We are taking you live to Ohio and the discovery of what we believe to be 25-year-old Summer Inman's body. It has been found deep underground, stuffed into a church septic tank, leaving behind her 3 children, ages 5, 3, and 1. In custody, her mother-in-law.
Her mother-in-law, her father-in-law, and her husband. Why doesn't she say all 3 of them?